Hello and welcome to CVXX. My name is Rob Florence and this is
Hello, I'm Ryan Ryan McLeod.
Hey guys, I've got some news for you. It's 1989. It's 1989.
Where should I put this?
And we've travelled. Why don't you just put it?
I'll put it in here.
Stuck it down there. It's 1989. We have travelled to the year 1989. Can you believe we've come all the way from 1984 to 1989, Ryan, already?
Mad. Is this 1989 part one? Who would even decide?
Part one.
I've got too many things.
There's a lot of stuff.
That's even 2 parts a year.
It's tough. It's really tough. Life is, I would say life is kind of getting better. I don't know whether it's just our memories. I don't know if it's just that the games are getting better.
Are you talking about 1989?
I'm talking about 1989. No, life. The new life is getting worse. Life is getting worse.
I was confused for a second.
But 1989, let's not talk about the present day. We're not going to do that. We're not going to talk about the present day. I like your shirt, by the way. Can we pour one out for Ryan's shirt, please?
Oh, I've got that one.
There you go. There we go. Pour one out for Ryan's shirt. There we go. A wee bit of Paisley. A wee Paisley pattern there. Interestingly, Paisley is quite near where we are now, is it? No, it's nowhere near it, is it?
No.
Welcome to CVXX. Well, we just fire right into it, Ryan. I want to talk about, first of all, the fact that
changes to format.
No
2 tellies in a film and games.
No changes to format. Couple of tellies, a film and games. Final Fight arrives in 1989, and Ryan, I know that is a game that we both share a great deal of.
Who's your character?
Love for. Hagar, obviously. What?
No, it's obvious now that I think about it.
Why are you laughing about that?
Because I've never considered in all the years of knowing you how much a similarity there is, how much Hagar you've got about you.
Is it because I'm the mayor of Ellenborough?
And that
who's your guy?
You've got the same special move as well.
Who's your guy?
The spinning arm attack. Guy.
I'm right. Yeah, it's Cody in it.
Cody's the t-shirt and jeans. Guy's the gi.
Yeah.
He's the fastest and the weakest.
It's got to be Hagar. I like how he gets tap off. I like his moves.
Hagar.
It's got to be. Final Fight comes out. Final Fight, for anybody that doesn't know, is a side-scrolling fighting game. These get called belt action games. You know this?
Can you mind what happened? I've never heard that term before.
Hagar's daughter
got kidnapped? Or not?
Aye. Hagar's daughter got kidnapped. There's a lot of kidnappings happening. One of the games that I'll be covering later in the show also features a kidnapping. So if there's fans of kidnapping out there,
I've got a problem because I've written down too many games, so we're going to have to do the thing where somebody else picks my games for me because there's too many to choose for.
What's your version of Final Fight? Do you have memories of arcade Final Fight? Arcade Final Fight. That's what we're talking about here.
There aren't that many, really. Just being a poor lad, there's not that many arcade games I can remember firing money into, but I loved Final Fight.
I feel that Final Fight gave you a good shot for your money as well.
Aye, I think so.
You get a decent shot for your money.
It started that you could go all the way, like you could maybe get through the subway or something like that on a credit if you're decent enough.
Yeah, or finish it. One credit finish it as well. Was also possible, depending on you need to be a kind of Hagar type guy to do that though. A great game.
Also, you have a bit of Hagar about you.
Also, you need to Hagar about a wee bit. I don't want to be stepping all over on top of any of your game choices, by the way.
Good sentence.
But thanks. It's your shirt. Your shirts actually make me feel as if I'm kind of tripping. It's like
that's all it takes.
Golden Axe also arrives in 1989. Can you believe that?
What's your feelings towards that?
No, I've got a weird thing about Golden Axe where I don't think it's a very good game, but I really like it.
Right.
I think because I like sword and sorcery stuff.
I've got some kind of thing where I like the idea of it. I like the box. I like the idea of it, but I don't actually.
But when you play it, it disappoints, right? It kind of disappoints a wee bit. But I do enjoy elements of it. I wish it was better. What I will say about Golden Axe though is that it just always seemed like an ever present in it from the day it came into the arcade. You know, it felt like an ever present.
I know what you mean.
Every system you played, you'd play Golden Axe on it. You know what I mean? So it's relevant. See, before we go any further, I just want to say that there's something special we can do in this episode, something really special we're able to do in this episode, and it's this. We have been asking Guft for a while if it was a possibility that we could have a third party involved, who would be like, because in some shows and some podcasts and stuff like that, there's guys they can shout out to, guys or women, that they can ask, can you look that up? Can you look that up? Now, Guft have said they'll think about it, but they've allowed us to trial it. They've not paid for it or anything. They've just allowed us to bring a friend in. So off screen, off camera, we have Mr. Jerry McLaughlin. I did say off screen, off camera. We have Mr. Jerry McLaughlin. He's going to be there with some facts and figures for us. Jerry, can you look up for us? Jerry, can I throw it out to you? Can you look up? Don't stand in front of the.
Yep.
Can I shout out to you, Jerry, and shout loud so the mics can hear you?
Yeah.
Who was the designer of Golden Axe?
I'll get right on that.
So Jerry's going to look at that. Don't bump my camera, by the way. So Jerry's going to look at that, and if this works well, then Guft are going to look into maybe permanently finding as a third party of this type.
Beautiful.
Jerry will be back with that information later in the show.
11th of February, ITV.
So is that you
No,
picking
that's
me up?
fine. That's fine.
Is that working on the screens?
Yeah, no, we can see you, Jerry. Just yep.
Makoto Uchida.
Right. Okay. Thanks, Jerry. So there we go.
What did they say?
I have no idea. I have no idea what he said.
His coat's on the cheddar.
I think he's
He's
maybe
English,
I think
so
he's
it's
got
like he's
COVID.
got terms that you don't understand up here.
Right, Ryan.
Sorry, where was I there?
Anything
Completely
happened?
threw me with that chaos. Threw me there. 11th of February, ITV airs the first episode of Home and Away.
Home and Away arrives in 1989. Home and Away is obviously
It's like Neighbours, but with more bikinis.
yeah.
So we were off for it, I think.
Aye, so Home and Away. I didn't really watch Home and Away. I was a Neighbours guy.
I think I watched it in the start. I don't remember much about it, though, other than there was a lot of bikinis in it.
And there was a guy called Al in it, was there?
Yeah.
Jerry,
True.
was there a guy called Al in
Yeah.
Home and Away?
Looked like an alky.
Alf. Sorry.
Oh, Alf.
Sorry.
Al.
You're thinking of Alf.
This episode's going to go long.
Alf, what was his second name?
Ramsey?
Alf Ramsey?
Right, that's interesting.
No, that's Ramsey Street.
But that's interesting, isn't it?
uh,
Because Ramsey Street is in Neighbours. And this is why it's good having somebody like Jerry here, because I would have doubted my own memory if I'd said Alf Ramsey.
Alf character.
Are you cold?
Home and Away
I
had
read this?
Home and Away had less. I think so. Home and Away had less good-looking woman in it.
Is that true?
Better looking woman in Neighbours, I think. Yeah.
I mean, I can't remember anybody who's in it, so you might be right there. So what are you wanting to do?
Alf Stewart.
Oh, wasn't he Alf Ramsey?
No.
Oh no, Alf Ramsey is Alf Ramsey the football guy?
Alf. You're thinking of Alf Garnett.
Right, go and Google if Alf Ramsey was a. There was somebody called an Alf. Anyway, what will we go on to first, Ryan?
You can pick.
Jerry,
You can pick.
you have to do this better than this because Guft won't. We won't. This is important for us because Guft won't give us a third person if you make an
isn't smooth.
absolute balls
Yeah.
up of this. It's got to be
Okay.
smooth.
Okay, I'll get on it.
Right. So, what do you want to talk about first, Ryan?
All right. Okay. I said you picked, but I'll do it, I suppose. Let me think. Let's start with what?
What?
Why don't we look at? I just watched this last night, so that's the freshest in my head. Why don't we have a look at this? What's a game show? Let's
Oh
have a
my
look at this
God.
game show that aired. Tragically, only had one series and aired in 1989. Starring or presented by Annabelle Croft and what's his name again?
Sean O'Kane. What's
Sean
his name? Don't
O'Kane.
give me that.
As if I don't have all his books in the house.
Sean O'Kane from Bells Hill, born in Bells Hill, Scotland, who was raised in Cambuslang. Sean O'Kane.
Is that where he gets the American twang and his accent? you
Well,
think?
I'll tell you about it. Listen, because I've done my research. Sean O'Kane.
We've not even said what we're talking about.
Oh, sorry. The name of the show is Ryan.
Interceptor.
Interceptor is a 1989 Channel 4 game show made by the same mob that made.
Is it Channel 4? You sure it's not ITV?
No, I'm pretty sure it's Channel. I'm pretty sure it's Channel 4 because it was the mob that made Treasure Hunt and Crystal Maze.
On it. It's
Is it? I know it's the same company, but I'm pretty sure that I read that at least the last episode, because I was trying to find the time slot because I was sure that it was like 7 o'clock.
It's ITV.
6, 7 o'clock.
Is it ITV?
It is ITV.
So you're both wrong.
Right.
But-
No, wrong.
ITV show Interceptor, which was made by the same mob that made Treasure Hunt
Yeah.
and made Crystal Maze after Interceptor. Sean O'Kane from Cambuslang is the Interceptor. I'm going to explain to you how this game works, okay? Why are you looking at him?
I don't know. I'm just not used to it.
Do you want me to go again?
Just not used to it.
Is it distracting?
Yeah, it's distracting.
Okay.
It's distracting me.
I'll just leave that like that though, because then it's there when I come back.
I can't deal with that shirt that Ryan's wearing and you sitting there.
This is episode 1 of series 1 of Interceptor that we've watched. Tragically, only.
Oh, I
one
watched
series.
episode 7. I'm joking, Ryan. His face.
I'm not well.
His
That's not good for
He
me.
nearly had a heart attack there. Annabelle Croft, by the way, was a tennis player. But she was also someone who used to be called Posh Totty.
Right.
That's what they used to say. They used to say Posh Totty. They did. This is what happened in the 1980s. The Sun...
I've never said that.
The Sun would
never
des-
said that.
no, listen. The Sun would describe Annabelle Croft as posh totty all the time, which is a very English thing to say, by the way, because in Scotland totties are potatoes. Mm-hmm. So calling a lassie a posh potato is rude
It
at
just means
best.
that she's got chili on her. I don't know what that means. That's what a posh potato is. It's got chili on her.
Do you put chili on potatoes?
Sometimes. I have done.
Do you mean like chili as in like mince and kidney
Aye,
beans?
aye.
Or like a baked potato with chili?
Aye.
Fuck me. So Annabelle Croft.
Here we
is-
go. How do you think she is? How do you think she did, Annabelle? in
As a
that
presenter?
episode? Aye, as a presenter.
I mean, not well, right? But before we go into that, we should explain how this game works, right? So 2 people come onto the show as a team, and then they're both given backpacks.
This
It's really
occasion.
hard to explain.
No, it's good. Oh, did you enjoy yourself?
Listen. Am I going to spoil it? Can I say it? I absolutely loved it.
Aye.
I absolutely loved it.
I was talking to I said to my partner, I've left this until the last minute. I need to watch this stupid show. I'll probably watch it at ×2 speed. Do you want to have a look at it? And we sat and we were fucking killing ourselves. Killing
Loved it.
ourselves.
So, you come on a team of 2, right? I'm going to explain it like I'm in the pitching meeting, like I'm the production company that's pitching this to ITV, right? So 2 people come on as a team and they both have backpacks. Now, these backpacks each have a key that locks it. One of the backpacks has got £1,000 in it. The other backpack's got nothing in it. The team are going to be split up and dropped off in 2 separate places somewhere in England, and then they have to meet they have to find keys, but the keys that they're finding are for the other person in the team's backpack, so they have to meet up to unlock each other's backpacks and open and hopefully find the money, right? However, the Interceptor, played by Sean O'Kane from Cambuslang, is going to try and intercept them, stop them from meeting, and he's going to try and shoot them with a infrared gun. And if he shoots your backpack sensors with the infrared gun, your backpack will lock and will not open with a key. Yes.
Well done.
Thank you very much. No.
Why did they not call it a laser? It was driving me fucking mental that especially Annabelle kept saying, it's very much like a television remote control. It's meant to be like a weapon. He's meant to be like
It's a terrible
scary-
way to sell the weapon that your
Aye.
villain is using by saying it's kind of like the remote control for your television
Call
set.
it a laser.
First of all, amazing music.
Oh, the opening.
Music.
Oh,
Pew,
brilliant.
pew, and there's that pew pew sound
Brilliant.
effect, right?
Brilliant.
And at the end of the titles, the Interceptor jumps at the screen, and this is something you're going to see quite a lot. There's a lot. Now, I was amused by the fact that Annabelle Croft said at the start that they were standing in front of the loveliest castle in the world.
It's known as the loveliest castle in the world. By who? By who?
And a woman
In
said,
Kent, it once went to
Yeah.
the Garden of England.
yeah, the woman said, the woman who was in the team that was competing, so it was like, I can't remember the lassie's name. The guy's name was Richard.
They were man and wife.
They were man and wife. Now, the wife, sorry, forgive me, I can't remember her name at the minute. But I only remember Richard's name for one reason later on the show, right? But the wife says, Annabelle Croft says to the wife at the start, so you've climbed Kilimanjaro, right? And the wife says, yeah. You know, the last 6 hours were the toughest. And I was thinking to myself, the last 6 hours were the toughest. That's like an incredible. You normally say the last 10 minutes were really bad. The last 6 hours.
I think it's the type of thing as well that she was maybe used to saying and getting a reaction. But Annabelle just like she's in this. She's kind of just moving on to the next thing all the time. Is her technique.
She's in
like,
a kind of panic.
She's just kind of stumbling to the next thing all the time. She doesn't even react.
To be
what
fair
that
to
woman
Annabelle
said.
Croft, right? I think Annabelle Croft is in a panic for the start of the show because she's like, this doesn't work. This format just doesn't quite work. It's kind of hanging together, right? Now, she says to the.
But there was a point. I don't want to skip ahead too much, but there was a point where I think the female contestant was on a milk float and the guy's running through a field or something like that, and Annabelle Croft's like, this is chaos, we can't keep track of what's going on. I was like, 2 things are happening, Annabelle. There's only 2 things happening.
Well, she says to this woman, you've climbed Kilimanjaro, and then she says to her husband, what about you? Do you do anything? And he says, well, I like sports. I like to watch, but so he watches the telly. That's what he does. And they were competing, by the way, because they wanted a new sofa. All right, that was
what the £1,000 was for, wasn't
it? And then after all the lovely preamble, Annabelle Croft says, in a moment I'm going to take you to the helicopter and blindfold you.
Did you happen to catch the last thing that Annabelle said before she led them off to the helicopter? No, you've no caught it.
Was it the breakfast
I'll
bit?
show the clip. The breakfast.
You have a good breakfast.
That's how she ended the conversation.
Good breakfast.
As she was leaving shot. Good breakfast.
Feeling energetic? Raring to go? Good breakfast? Yes. Good. Follow me.
Jerry, could you check while we're talking here if Annabelle Croft's still kicking a ball? If she's all right, know that.
On it.
So, listen, by the way, no, because £1,000 is in one of the
My scarf
backpacks.
back on because Goff's only paying the eating bills here.
No, £1,000, right, in one backpack, and nothing in the other backpack, right? And so, Jesus
Annabelle
Christ.
Croft's she's 58. She's doing fine, but she retired in 1988. I don't know what she retired.
1988?
We're talking about 1989.
She retired.
He's presenting fucking Interceptor 1989.
She retired from tennis in 1988
Right. Okay.
and moved into a successful presenting career. I might have to check. I might have to check these.
Well, let's get to the end of the review before.
Right. But that's, yep, she's fine.
Thanks, Jerry. Thanks, Jerry.
Thank you very much.
You can take your seat back over there again, please. Thank you.
I'll speed these bits up. She is a great looking woman. I hate to say that.
£1,000 in one backpack, nothing in the other backpack, right? And so, but you can't know which backpack you're wearing, so they have to mix them up. And let me tell you, they're going to show you them mixing them up.
Yeah, there's no editing here.
It's a long time Annabelle Croft is mixing up these 2 backpacks.
As like kind of buckles and stuff kind of awkwardly rattling.
There we are. Right, you can turn around again.
She also puts them on. It's like watching. She also like helps them on with their backpacks, like watching somebody getting ready for the school run in the morning.
Yeah, we did. You're saying we didn't need to see that? Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying we didn't need to see that, but I suppose they were wanting to make sure that you knew that everything was honest and real.
Aye. Nice breakfast, by the way.
Nice breakfast. I like the bit where Annabelle Croft says, she's explaining, because the guy goes, well, how's he going to lock them? And she explains about the infrared gun, right? And then at the end of her explanation about the infrared gun, she says, believe me, if he's accurate, it does work.
And it works rather like a remote controller on a television set. And believe me, if he's accurate, it does work.
Which makes me think that in production meetings they kind of went, I'm not sure this works. I'm not sure this works. If he's really accurate, it does work. So the whole process gets shown of them getting ready to go on this helicopter. Now, I've got it written down here. Good breakfast. Interceptor speeds off in a sports car. It's intercutting, by the way. When the contestants are getting ready, it's intercutting with Interceptor getting ready to make his move, to explain to you who the Interceptor is. And I really compel you, if you've never seen Interceptor, to go and watch as much as you can.
It's tragic. It's nice to see, since we've been doing this podcast, the amount of old TV content that's getting like upscaled.
Yeah.
People are taking their time to like AI upscale a lot of stuff. The Alexis Sales stuff that we use was really nice quality. Unfortunately, I don't think Interceptor has the fan base.
No, it does not have the fan base.
It means that the quality that you have to watch the episodes in, at least the episodes are still there, but the quality is well ropey.
Yeah, and there's an issue later on the show we'll talk about with that as
Guy
well.
wearing shorts.
But Interceptor,
The guy wearing shorts.
no, it's something else, but that is a thing. Interceptor, by the way, just to describe who he is, he's got blonde hair. He looks cool as anything. He's handsome. He's rugged. He's got a long black coat. He wears black.
There's so many people in that episode cutting about in like taps off, shorts and taps off as well, and he's wearing like a massive leather
It's
trench coat.
unbelievable. By the way, he's pissed off at the start of the show because Mikey,
I think he's pissed off all the time.
Mikey, who's his helicopter pilot, is 6.5 minutes late at the start.
You were 6.5 minutes lost. Well, actually, I wanted to talk to you about my map allowance. You what?
I thought I'd oversold the banter between Mikey and Interceptor,
Oh, no.
but fucking brilliant.
It's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. So he's got this. Mikey's his employee, his man, flies his helicopter for him, sorts things out for him.
Do you think that's okay? I think that's okay.
Who?
That's come up with it.
Oh yeah, I mean they're just ad-libbing stuff in
Aye.
in that helicopter.
He's went, this will be funny. I'm your boss, sort of thing, and I'm going to push you about a bit.
There was something at Interceptor that I wondered that, because me and Ryan saw this show years and years ago, I wondered if it had an influence on our work. Because everybody's constantly talking over the top of each other. So the Interceptor, by the way, they get dropped off, right? So the two contestants get dropped off. The lassie gets dropped off in a field of rape, right? And the guy gets dropped off on a cliffside, kind of
What, on the island, actually?
by the river, on an island, yeah,
Aye.
on an island. But the Interceptor immediately is on the lassie, right? Is above the lassie and starts shooting. And so his gun is attached to his arm. It's cool as fuck, man. His gun's attached to his arm. He's leaning out the helicopter and he's shooting, and it's pew pew pew. But these are added in post, these sound effects. So when he's leaning out and firing, I just think to myself, oh, it's just silence, right?
He's silently pointing at her.
He's silently pointing at her, almost like the way you would silently point a remote control at your television set, I suppose.
They could have done a bit better with the sound effects, I think.
They could have done. I just don't
But
understand.
also, I think like the lack of the device making any kind of sound has made O'Keefe. Is it O'Keefe?
O'Kane. I need respect for the Interceptor. You know.
Sorry, O'Kane. It's made him make up his own sound effects as well, I think.
Oh yeah, I mean 100%. Now this guy, let's be fair to Sean O'Kane here. This guy is really trying to muscle this concept over the line. I mean, he's throwing himself into it. It's probably, I think it's my favourite performance of a kind of villain in a game show type scenario, because obviously there was the guy. There was a show called, a bit of a time slip here, right? There's a later in life, there's a show called Fort Boyard, where a guy that murdered a taxi driver plays a villain on a fortress island, right? And you would think a guy that murdered a taxi driver would be better at playing a villain than a boy for Cambus Lang, who was in Cagney and Lacey. Did you know that he was in Cagney and
I
Lacey?
did not know that, no.
Well, there you go. He was in Cagney and Lacey. Here's an interesting fact about him being in Cagney and Lacey, Sean O'Kane. Interceptor in Cagney and Lacey. It says on Wikipedia that he was young when he was on the show. The producers really liked him, and so he was in multiple episodes pre-Interceptor.
Right.
He was in multiple episodes of Cagney and Lacey. It says, however, his Glasgow accent impeded his chances of speaking.
Right.
In the show. Does that not just fucking sum it up? Does that not sum it up, Jerry?
Sums it up. Yeah.
Thanks, Jerry.
Good breakfast.
Why does Interceptor go away?
What do you mean go away?
So
Or from her?
She's in the field of rape, right? And,
Aye.
and he's circling in the helicopter and he's shooting down at her, right? Pew, pew, pew. And eventually goes, Mikey, take me away. It's the first moment where you see it's a wobbly concept.
Aye,
Because you're like,
aye.
why does she's alone in this
He's go
field?
straight away.
Yeah.
Maybe you can't land anywhere in the helicopter. I don't know. There's no explanation given.
There's no
anyway.
explanation, but he's just. I suppose he's playing with them, right? It's kind of cat and mouse. I suppose that's where you would put it. He wasn't happy about Mikey turning up without his leather jacket
He
on.
was fucking. I know, you need to look smart, Mikey. And he was fucking 6 minutes late. Was it 6 minutes?
6.5, I
Six
think
and a
you'll
half
find.
minutes late.
I just want to point out as well, Ryan, that Annabelle Croft does all the work in the show. So the team come and they get dropped off, but then Annabelle Croft's own a mic thing, kind of like Treasure Hunt kind of vibe, and she's going, "Can you see a river? Can you see Can you see a pub? Go to that pub. Ask somebody if they've got a car, because this is what's cool about this show. It's like they've got to meet each other. They've got to find a key.
I didn't appreciate for previous viewing how many of the. I had it in my memory that they were literally going up to members of the public and going, "Can you give me a lift?" But that's not the case. There's obviously setups. They're obviously maybe even actors. I think in
Total
some cases.
setups, but also moments that can be setups, because it's like run up there and then she runs up and then I was like, I just an old guy with his tap off. And that
Is that the shorts guy? No,
This is another guy, an old guy with his tap off, and he's kind of like, what was there supposed to be a boat here waiting for you? He was like confused about what was going on. So there's obviously a mix of real people that they're interacting with and people that have been pre-staged. Interceptor likes to shout "yes" when he sees people, which is a very Scottish
These guys, right?
thing. I like it.
I like it.
Ah, yes, I like it. Just fucking brilliant when he shouts that.
What did you say though? What did you say?
I like it.
No, the last bit that you said. 10:30 I've written down. It's just I was looking at it as you said it. 10 minutes and 30 seconds I've written down. Interceptor is fucking brilliant. I'm talking about the guy. Like, he's been on again. I'm like, he's fucking brilliant.
Yeah. It must be like run about the same bit. The lassie, by the way, who climbed Mount Kilimanjaro gets out of breath climbing onto a milk float. So I'm not sure if I believe her story. So the guy, meanwhile, Richard, right? Meanwhile, he's trying to get a boat.
The way that guy is reacting to everything, everything that happens, like scenery, the way he's reacting to anything is just fucking preposterous.
Oh, it's this. Oh, he's like that all the time. Oh, it's a stone pillar.
Even when the interceptor's nowhere in sight, is the interceptor might be here in a second.
He's totally. He's thrilled.
He is
by the experience. But he commandeers a boat eventually, right, Richard, to get off this island, right? And it's extremely. I've got to be honest, right? It's extremely exciting. I think it's genuinely exciting, because Interceptor swoops in on this black helicopter and he goes, "Hey, Mikey, swoop down and pick up. We'll scoop him up." Right, and Richard's on this boat, and this old guy's driving this boat with Richard in the back. This is an old guy he met in the pub, and they're speeding along, and the boat's getting chased by a fucking black helicopter, and it's happening.
Quite close.
It's on a teleprogram. It's like it's actually happening. There's actually a black helicopter, and he's going, ah! He's leaning out and pew pew pew, and he's shooting, and right there, Mikey, ah! And the guy's like, oh. It's just And in that moment, though, it's like genuinely like, this is one of the most thrilling things I've ever seen on British terrestrial TV. Am I right though? I mean, like, all joking aside.
No, that's good.
And then he swoops away. I put the fear of God into him. Which is just fantastic. And then we get to the guy with the pants.
Aye. Is it like you can't make it out? It's the quality of the video. I skipped back. You might have skipped back as well, because I was like to Saf. That guy's nude. That guy's nude.
Yeah, I thought he's got wee tiny shorts on.
Aye.
But the lassie it's the lassie, right? That is it, or is it him? No, it's the lassie that's with him, right? Anyway,
I think it's the lassie.
Aye, running up to a guy. He's in his pants. He's carrying a bucket, and she says, "Do you have a car?" There's no way I would look at a guy who's got a pair of pants on and he's carrying a bucket and think, "That guy, I'm going to ask that guy if he's got a motor." But he does, I think. So anyway, this gets the lassie to, you're not going to fucking believe what I'm about to say here, because when the lassie goes to the place where she's got to find the key, there's people doing medieval jousting. So there's,
Some amount of fucking medieval stuff on the 80s telly, isn't there?
there is an unbelievable
If
amount.
there's a field, there'll be something medieval getting reenacted in it.
I mean, but I think it's like, I genuinely think it's, we are in the peak of kind of, well, not in the peak, but this is Englishness. Do you know what I mean?
That's Kent.
And I don't mean this
That's
in a
Kent.
well, I don't mean this in a bad way, Englishness, but it was before there was all the.
How could you not mean it in a bad way?
It was before there was the push to be more kind of diverse about, you know, nations and regions and stuff like that in the UK. So there's a real element of Englishness, like, oh, it's a Union Jack above the pub. That's very patriotic, Richard says at one point, and
The amount of times that Richard makes the joke, can I go in for a pint?
I know, fuck.
Two pubs, and he makes the joke several times for each pub. He seems like a nice guy, but like pretty much
You know,
partless.
at the jousting, right, there's an old guy, and he says to the lass, "You've got to ride my horse." Right, and he starts to make this long-winded explanation of how she's got to get this key. She's got to ride the horse. She's got to use the jousting pole to lance this ring, and if she does that, she'll get the key. Right, and then while he's explaining it, what happens? Right, the interceptor comes in his helicopter. Right, I like it. He shouts. Right, take me down, Mikey. And the helicopter comes in for a fucking landing, right? And she's getting taught how to ride a medieval fucking jousting horse, right? And he comes out of the helicopter and he's creeping up. He's like creeping up towards the medieval jousting space, and the helicopter takes off again. And she's looking up and she thinks Interceptor's in the fucking helicopter. Interceptor's up there, and he's fucking creeping up from behind. Coming up from behind. It's unbelievable. Meanwhile, in Faversham, the guy, it's the guy that's with the naked guy in the pants.
Right, okay.
Richard's in Faversham. I'm so excited about this show, Ryan. Can
It's
you tell?
really good. It is really good.
Anyway, after she manages to somehow, I don't believe this for
When they
one second.
demonstrated that thing with the joust, I was like, for fuck's sake,
It's impossible.
That's asking a bit much.
impossible.
But she did it quite slowly. So.
Yeah, I'm no sure. I imagine she maybe had to try and do that about 7 times or something. That just
Even when she did it, she also dropped it.
Yeah,
Maybe
there was
they
a
say
wee
that
bit
they were
of
dropping it.
creative license taken there. And then she runs off, and then
Then what happens?
Then
to
she-
the Interceptor.
well, hold on a minute.
Okay.
Before
I'm
that.
excited about what the Interceptor's going to do next.
Oh, listen. Because you think to yourself, this show could stop now. It can't get any better. She runs up, right, and this is the first moment where it's like, these are definitely actors. There's this guy and this
Is it a
lady
picnic?
having a wee picnic.
Aye, bad actors.
Yeah, and she's like, "Do you have a car?" And the posh guy's like, and he goes, "Robert, take this lady." Like he's some posh guy who has like a chauffeur or something. It's fucking magic. So she jumps into a motor and she starts speeding away. And Ryan, what does the Interceptor do?
The Interceptor chases her. But on a fucking horse.
The Interceptor says, "Let me borrow this horse." And then he says, "Does it speak Spanish?" What does that mean?
I don't know.
And he jumps on a horse. I'm hoping people that are listening to this or watching this are thinking to themselves, this sounds like the best fucking telly show ever made. It might be. It might be the best telly show ever made. And so she's shouting, she's in the motor, she's going, "The Interceptor's chasing me on a horse." She's shouting, "It's horrible." She keeps shouting, didn't she? And he's on the horse and he's going, "Ah!" Hanging off this horse. "Ah!" Pew, pew, pew. And she's shrieking, "It's horrible, it's horrible." It's so unbelievable. Meanwhile, Richard's arrived and he's like, sorry.
Do you think their fear of the Interceptor, this couple, I've only just thought of this, I think their fear of the Interceptor has got anything to do with him being Scottish?
Well, probably. There's probably partly of that. Probably they don't understand what the accent is, right? But also, I think you'd be so caught up in the moment in that show. I think you maybe genuinely would be terrified. I kind of feel like you maybe...
I mean, you think that's something that happens later?
Let's go back to Richard, because you might think, right, we've seen enough now, we don't need any more. Richard finds out that the key he needs to find is in a fucking beehive, right? So he gets dressed up as a beekeeper and he says to Annabelle, "Annabelle, bees, there's thousands of them. Thousands of them.
I think slightly before the bees will just slip in. That
Yeah.
my partner was pissing herself laughing at the woman sitting in the car. It was just, I don't know why this footage was even there, but she was sitting in the car, there was nothing else happening, but she was saying to herself that she was pleased that she got the key. She was just going, I can't believe I got the key. It's just such a weird thing.
Yeah, I know. There's a lot of kind of weird wee cutaway moments, kind of charmingly weird, isn't it, though?
I believe I got the key. Dad!
Yeah, so he goes, there's thousands of bees. I've got the interceptor as well. Because the interceptor fucking turns up in the copter, right?
He actually goes on about the thousands of bees for a good 5 minutes.
Oh, he's shouting about these bees. He doesn't fancy these bees.
Because it takes him that long to get his suit on and stuff.
Now, the next 7 minutes of this show are like the third act of one of the best horror films you've ever seen. Because Richard is running through this place where the beehive is, and it's almost like it's hard to describe it, almost as a kind of vineyardy kind of look about it. It's all these rows.
You can duck down and see legs.
Yeah, you can duck down and see legs, and so Richard's running through these rows, and the interceptor's fucking coming through the rows as well. He's making these noises and he's coming through the road.
Does he not think again that he's in the chopper still?
I think he maybe
Aye.
does. He thinks he's in the chopper, but the interceptor's actually doing on ground level with him. And the interceptor says,
Aye, he does, because Mikey drops him off in plenty of cover and then takes off again.
and
He
for the
does, I
first
remember.
time, the interceptor shouts, I'm having myself a field day. He says, no, he likes this one, didn't he, Ryan? Saying that. He likes saying, I'm having myself a field day. So then he comes, but then there's Ryan.
I don't know how to approach this, but
The interceptor catches up with Richard, like fully catches up with him, and the execution of this is just...
there's actually the very start of it. Richard is oblivious to the fact that an interceptor's on the ground or anywhere close to him.
Yeah.
So there's actually there's a silent kill that takes place.
Oh, yeah,
Like
yeah.
interceptor gets him straight away because
Yeah.
Richard goes right past him. He runs
Yeah,
like
exactly,
right
gets
past,
zapped.
and he gets like within inches.
Yeah.
So it's over straight
At
away.
close range, zap straight into the
Done.
backpack.
It's done. No
But-
question about it.
But...
If he's accurate, it does work.
Yeah, yeah. But the interceptor's having a field day, right? So he's not finished yet. The interceptor comes up behind Richard. Well, Richard is oblivious to the fact the interceptor's even there. And the interceptor is right behind him, like something in a horror film. And he turns himself into this shape, this frightening shape. He's looming right out of Richard, silently, like that behind him. And Richard turns round, interceptor goes, ah! And what does Richard do?
Shits himself.
He screams.
He screams and tries to run away. And then he says something as well. I don't know if you caught it.
No, what did they say?
He's in such a panic, he's in such a heightened state that he points at the interceptor and he says, kill.
The car keys.
Where the car? Which car?
Any car. Jesus! Kill!
Because he's so panicked he doesn't know what to do.
Yeah.
And then he runs around like a chicken.
Listen, they harm to Richard, right? But you can't climb Kilimanjaro.
That was his wife.
No, exactly. You can't climb Kilimanjaro and stay married to that guy that screamed on national telly when he saw the interceptor. He shrieked. He screamed and shrieked.
He is Scottish though.
Interceptor shouts, by the way,
That's
"You're
what-
one dead dick!" He shouts. Did you catch that?
I
Fucking
think it was Duck.
fantastic.
It might have been Duck.
No, it was definitely Dick.
Was it?
I was why I checked. I says, why would they say that? That guy's Richard. So Richard Dick.
Oh, one dead Dick.
Yeah, you're one dead
Yeah,
dick.
fucking good stuff. I mean, quite honestly, that's one of the best bits of telly I've ever seen.
I'm not even fucking joking. I'm not even joking. No. It was an
We had to take a break.
It was a brilliant hour of telly. The last 5 minutes were total panic. Like, it was psychological terror was getting waged upon. I don't think I've seen a better first episode of a game show type thing. How does that only get one series?
I don't know. I mean, Annabelle's no good. There's that.
Annabelle's no great, right? Annabelle's no great, but I think she works in a role. You know what I mean? Because
She's constantly asking the contestants. I mean, these are things that could be ironed out. I think it could have at least got a second series, but she's constantly asking the contestants to describe her surroundings. We don't, as viewers of the TV show, don't need a description. We don't need to hear them doing that over and over again. We can see we're there. Know what I mean? What happened?
I like it. Good breakfast, then.
So that was Interceptor.
Fucking brilliant. Mate. Just fucking brilliant.
Absolutely loved it. Loved it.
Aye.
And I remember loving it back
Was
in the
he
day.
an author? Was O'Kane an author before The Interceptor? Was that a thing that he'd started? Do you know?
An actor before?
Author.
Is he a writer?
Do you know?
No.
You know this. We've had this conversation before. He writes women's romantic fiction novels. Jerry.
On it already.
Sean O'Kane, Interceptor, romantic fiction novels. Oh, no, I didn't know. Have we spoken about this?
Aye.
Oh, my God, I'm so sorry. Right, can I talk about a computer game now before people get antsy out there? But listen, why was there no an Interceptor computer game? It just wasn't successful enough.
We loved it, but it didn't do well. It didn't get a second series because it didn't do well.
I like it.
Lads, since we're talking about kidnaps and people going in helicopters and getting blindfolded, 1989 is a great year because the PC Engine arrives. The PC Engine has arrived, and let's take a look at one of my favourite games with the PC Engine, a game called Vigilante. Don't pay any attention to the fact that it says 1988 there. This is the PC Engine version of Vigilante that came out in Japan in 1989. And look at the storyline. The skinheads have taken Madonna hostage. Madonna? Like, Madonna? I mean, the skinheads probably would take Madonna hostage, wouldn't they, when you think about it? Anyway, this is Vigilante. As you can see, it's a scrolling beat-em-up. It's a spiritual successor to Kung Fu Master, which is a scrolling beat-em-up that I think a lot of us played back in the day on our home computers on the C64 and that, you know? And Vigilante has that same kind of style, on one plane, walking along while a succession of guys come and try to knock fuck out of you. This is the only weapon in the game, by the way, these nunchucks that you pick up. There's something just so, I don't know, relaxing about games like this, where you only have to worry about walking in one direction, forward, occasionally backwards. By the way, that's where I met Ryan back in the day, in the PP room. Back in the PP room, me and Ryan used to hang out together a lot. Now, you need to watch yourself here, because a guy comes out here with a gun, and it isn't fucking fair, right? As you'll see, baddies try and grapple you, but you need to make sure you go onto that guy before he fires his gun, because, see, in this game, Vigilante, that gun will fucking knock you dead in one shot. I mean, it's like life really, isn't it? If somebody's shooting at you in life, chances are one shot, you're fucked, you know? Look at John F. Kennedy. I've read the files now. One shot, fucked. It's a nightmare. So there wasn't much strategy there. See if you can get to this big boss with your nunchucks and keep leathering them before he gets any of his punches in. You've got a good chance. If you drop your nunchucks like I did, I'm probably going to get a down here. Hold on, let's stick on him. Let's see if I can show off. Get this big Jeff Capes looking boy. Nah, this is not looking good. Look at this, man. This takes me back to my days in the PP room. I used to get a pounding less in the PP room back in the day. Right, here's me back at him again. This is a later turn. As you can see, this time I'm just kicking him in the jaw 1,000 times. Just kicking him in the beard, kinda. Doesn't actually look like I'm making contact with his jaw, but just blasting him in the beard. Right, stage clear. Let's see what's happening with old Madonna. Hey, come on, hen. The van is carrying Madonna to their turf. The junkyard. Hold on, Madonna? Madonna, her fucking shoes have fell off. So anyway, Vigilante in the PC Engine. A lot of people say it's not a great game, but I think it looks lovely. It's very simplistic. I mean, admittedly, not the greatest game in the world, right? But there's just something about it. There's something about the simple, direct violence of the game that a guy like me for Glasgow can truly appreciate. Mona fucking Vigilantes. Bastard. Here, by the way, can you imagine releasing a game with this cover nowadays? You'd get cancelled!
I never had a PC Engine. I've never owned a PC Engine.
Oh, you're missing out, mate. Let me tell you something.
I'd like one.
1989, the Game Boy.
Hey, I'd like one.
The Game Boy is here. What's your Game Boy memories? Ryan McLeod of Consolvania fame. He must have some Game Boy memories.
For goodness sake, Ocarina of Time, for goodness sake. No Ocarina of Time.
He's fucking lost it. He's lost it. Let's not help him. Here it comes.
Egg in the mountain. Big egg in the mountain.
Egg. Sleep.
Zelda
It's like a
game.
dream. Oh,
Eh,
it's...
Link's Awakening. I'll edit that to make it look worse. Link's Awakening, Tetris. First time I played a Mario game was on a Game Boy as well.
Oh, really?
Oh, aye. I mean, I never had it.
Like Mario Land? On wow. So you
Eh,
played that before you played like Super Mario Brothers?
I never
Or-
had a SNES or Mega Drive until like we were pals, like until it was like the car boot days. Years after the boot.
Of course. Come,
But I had a Game Boy.
Amiga was your path. What about that Tetris? I mean, we're not going to talk about fucking Tetris. It's been talked to death.
It's undeniable. It's undeniable.
It's been talked to death.
I should do a game as well.
Yeah,
then,
let's
see if
hear-
you've done one. Well, I'll give you a choice because there's just too fucking many.
Yeah,
There's
give me a
too
choice.
many.
Remember, we've got a couple episodes, but
I'll
give me a choice.
Honestly, the list's ridiculous. I'll give you a choice between something that I've played and something that I've not played. So, Populous or Mother?
Jerry, Populous or Mother?
Populous.
Good. I was hoping you were going to say that, actually.
The reason why I was hoping that he was going to say that is because I know this game inside out. This is how you used to load the game. On the workbench page, you had to turn the wee mud hut into the castle. That's as far as Civilization goes. This is the attract mode. It's as far as Civilization goes, and Populous 1 is just the castle, and 2 for that matter. But you just get into a nice fancy castle, and that's as far as your Civilization gets. Probably didn't have enough megabytes or floppy woofs to make the Civilizations more advanced on the Amiga. I only had a certain amount of polynipples. Speaking of polynipples, obviously Populous is made by the mad genius Peter Molyneux, who hasn't been seen for years. No, don't think he's been seen in the wild for many, many years after everybody'd had enough of his shite. But back in the very late 80s, he was making the foundation stones of modern gaming. Populous is a game about making land flat. I might get to the end of my days in this lifetime, and all I'll have to show for it is the Consolvania playlist and how good I am at making land flat in this game. Because see, once I get going, I can make a lot of land flat really quickly. I'm maybe not the most efficient, I'm not doing it one at a time, but I'm fast at making land flat. Sorry if that emasculates you, that it makes you feel uncomfortable to hear that I can make land really flat in this game. I put down swamps to catch these bastards. This is a really early level, so the fucking idiots just swamps confuse them. Something as simple as a swamp confuses an early god. The premise of Populous is that you're the blue god and you're fighting the red god. Fucking hate them, actually. I hate them. The reds, I hate them. But you're fighting them, and you need to have more. The more followers you have, the more like natural disasters, like volcanoes. And you don't really get volcanoes in the first one. It's a volcano icon that's on screen, but it mostly just raises the land and puts loads of rocks that are kind of annoying for developing, because you want flat, clean land like I'm good at making. I don't know if I mentioned that earlier. But if you got a lot of followers, then you get to use more powers. So you want your population to be big. I've basically won the game there by putting his leader has fallen into a swamp, but the computer's so dim that he doesn't realise that he's going to have to get rid of that swamp before, because he keeps telling, there's a mode in Populous where you can tell your people, your populace, you can tell them to be more productive and build houses, or you can tell them to be more combative, and that's the wee icons in the bottom left hand corner. Be more combative and seek out like enemies to fight. That's good for like gaining territory and things. You can tell them to procreate more and expand their numbers more, or you can tell them to gather at the Papal Magnet, which is what is happening on screen right now. Is that I've reached the point where my population can just... he's not really attacking me, the guy. His one tactic is to try and get a strong enough leader that can then turn that leader into a knight and send the knight out to come and fight me. But his Papal Magnet is on a swamp, and he's telling all his guys to basically dive into a swamp. So that's why I'm winning this level, because he's deliberately telling his people to gather in a swamp which is bottomless, and while he's doing that, I grow my population larger and larger and gather my leader until he's at a point where I think he's strong enough to be a knight, and I'll make him a knight. And I've got several knights marauding through the enemy territory while he still continues to tell his people to jump into a swamp. It's one of the best games ever made, as far as I'm concerned. Right now I've got the music playing as well, but most of the time it will just be the FX that I'll be listening to when I'm playing this game. I find it very, very meditative. That's meditative. If you do find that you do want to play a God game for 1989, you'll need to be ready for the same difficulty journey that you can go on with an awful lot of Amiga games, where basically the deck is going to get fucking stacked against you heavily. You'll get less powers to use, they'll get more powers to use, they'll start to get absolutely ludicrously fast, your opponents. He's still falling into that swamp. The one player journey isn't what I love about this game. I love it like I've described before, I love it like a plaything, I love it like a toy. I have an Amiga emulator sitting on my desktop, so I basically have access to every Amiga game that was ever made, more or less. And I put this on all the time, because it's just a thing I like to have a wee shot of, just to kind of mellow it, to hear that heartbeat, and to obviously crush my opponent, crush his bones into oblivion, drink his blood, but also to mellow it as well, just to mellow it. Hate the Reds, absolutely hate the Reds, I don't like them. I just don't like them. I'm sorry if that says something about me, but I don't like the Reds, okay? I just prefer... Okay, that's enough on that subject. I must have noticed this back in the day, but I have managed to forget that your knights combine. So I've been sending knights out for ages in this game, and they've combined into some kind of super indestructible knight. Maybe you don't consider Populous to be a foundational stone of gaming, but in my gaming experience, that's the way I would describe it. This is a foundational game for me. This is one of the few titles where I will literally have put thousands of hours into this. Like, I've spent a lot of time with this game. And I still recommend that you spend a lot of time with it as well. I think it's excellent. It's no as good as Populous 2. Populous 2 is even better than this, but it's still brilliant. I love Populous. It's such a nice experience. Well done, Mortal. That's what I say to Peter Molyneux and all the guys that made Populous. Well done, Mortal.
Welcome back. We have, for the first time, got a sponsor read that Guft has given us, so I'll just quickly get through this, right? And I'll get through this.
Do you need any help, or you just doing it yourself?
You'll get involved, because they like it when sponsor reads are kind of like conversational.
Sure.
We all know how important it is to keep track of what's going on in the modern world. Ryan, have you ever been in your home at night and you've been thinking to yourself, I wish I could see a bird's eye view of the roof of my house?
Oh, yeah. Aye. Aye.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, as a homeowner, you want to keep track of that at all times, really. Lots of things could go wrong with the roof of your house.
Exactly. You want to keep track of the roof of your house, the roof of your neighbours' houses, your environment is for your neighbourhood.
People have got cameras on their doorbells to keep track of their front door.
Exactly.
What about the roof? There's
Yeah.
things landing up there all the time. There's stuff going on that you need to keep track of, I think.
You want to map your roof, your neighbours' roofs, installations, like local installations, nearby installations. Guft drone technology is at its peak at the moment. Guft drones are not available to members of the public, but Ryan, interest in them is huge at this point. Ryan, are you good at controlling aerial objects that fly in aerial circumstances?
I believe so.
Are you good at manipulating them?
Yeah.
I think you would take.
I'm a gamer. I'm a gamer. How
I
could
think
not
I
be?
think you would take to a drone like a duck to water, or should I say like a guff to water.
Did you see President Trump saying that something strange is going on?
Well, let's
Guft related?
let's not do that. Let's not, because that's kind of fuck the sponsor read.
5th of February at 6 p.m, the world's first commercial DBS system, Sky Television, goes on there.
Wait a minute, that's what you wanted to talk about. You're rushing us so you could talk about the first DBS system.
I mean, we've got like half an hour left, and we've got
Right,
lots
let's
of
get
content.
marching then. Let's get marching then. We got a film or another TV show?
I think we can get through
film.
the
We've got to
TV.
get,
Go,
I think we should go
okay,
to film
okay.
because we should finish on a TV show
TV
probably.
shows could be quick.
Yeah, that'll be quick. That'll be quick. So the film we watched was a 1989 movie by the director Sidney Lumet, who film buffs such as myself will know as the director of such classics as
Some career.
What a Career, 12 Angry Men, Serpico, Dog Day Afternoon, big favourite of mine. This guy, you know, and that's just that's scratching the surface. Network, scratching the surface.
Such a good. I know the depth of his career is just
It's crazy. It's like some of the
few careers like it,
classic films of all time.
and a really good name as well.
It's a great name. Although I've heard it pronounced Lumet and I've heard it pronounced Lumet as well. So we could be putting ourselves in for a bit of trouble here. Now, this was recommended to me by my daughter, actually, because it's one of my daughter's favourite films. And I had never seen it. It's called Running on Empty.
Do you remember, or are you aware what age your daughter was when she first saw the film? Any idea?
I think it was a couple of years ago.
All right, okay.
I think it was a couple of years ago. River Phoenix, who is, of course, sadly dead. Jerry, could you pull us up what year River Phoenix...
Yep.
But what year did he die?
Oh, right.
He died something to do with Johnny Depp, and he passed away very sadly. Sad loss. Judd Hirsch, who we know better from Taxi, probably.
Dear John as well, was it he made? Judd Hirsch?
Yeah, he was in a version of that. He was an American version of that, I'm pretty sure. Christine Latty plays
So
River
he's
Phoenix.
not dead. He was in the Joker movies.
Oh, for fuck me.
That's
And
wacky.
Glad-
Joaquin Phoenix's brother.
Okay, give us one second.
That's his brother. Christine Latty plays the mother, and Martha Plimpton.
He's going to say something about the River Clyde. next.
Clyde Phoenix.
I was going to say Phoenix Nights by Peter Kay.
River
Was,
Phoenix.
he's a year, Jerry.
1993.
1993.
31st of October in West
Thanks, Jerry.
Hollywood.
Thank you, Jerry. Thanks for that.
So this is just 4 years before he dies.
Go back to your seat. So this is only 4 years before he died. The story is...
I have to go, yeah.
Yep. This is a story that I've never...
Get you
What's
back
on the
in.
left in this? Or?
I think there's about half. When we're really behind, that will just depend on whether the guy puts up with is going to our time.
Right, okay. Sorry.
We've technically we've only got.
Jerry, you
about
look like
left, but
fucking
it's not-
Paddington Bear in that coat.
Why are you wearing your
Thank
big
you very
coat?
much.
You look like Paddington.
Oh, he's English. He takes it as a compliment.
It is. It is.
Good breakfast.
Well, no, actually, I've not had breakfast. We'll get you back in.
You promised me I could sing the theme tune to Fun
Oh,
House in the style of
we'll
William
do that. We'll
Shatner.
do that.
Somebody
Don't
was
worry.
there.
You spoiled.
He's
You spoiled what the
bit,
fucking.
man.
You spoiled what the
we're
last
doing
segment is.
Go and sit down.
Go and sit down, Jerry. Jesus
That was
Christ.
Joaquin Phoenix. I was thinking of before. Just to correct that. Okay. That's me away.
Right, running on empty.
Running on Empty. So the story of Running on Empty is, and this was appealing to me right for the get go, was that I've never seen this story before. So you've got a couple.
I wouldn't say I'd say it's quite an unusual story. I would think
It's a very unusual story.
Even to the end of the film, I was still a bit like about the premise. I was still a bit like kind of that's the premise.
Yeah. So the parents were involved in a bombing. They were protesters, they're hippies essentially, and they were involved in anti-Vietnam protests. And they took part in a bombing, and they're now on the run for the feds.
They bombed a napalm lab.
Yeah, they bombed a napalm lab.
There was somebody in the lab and who wasn't supposed to be there.
Yeah.
Who got badly hurt.
Badly injured, not killed, badly
Why
injured.
not just killed? Do you think?
Huh?
Why not just killed?
Because
It seemed an odd choice to me because they say they refer to it so many different characters refer to that this guy was maimed and blinded, I think, but not killed. So it struck me as an unusual detail. Why not just killed? You've killed somebody.
Yeah, but I wonder if it's partly just to kind of lessen. It's just the fact that protesters like that are always going to be treated more severely than just, you know, a murderer is going to be or a thing. So I think an injury is probably enough. I think you probably don't need a death, and then they don't have like a death hanging over them as well. But a blinding is, you know,
that's severe.
It's like a surviving walking victim of the thing as well. I suppose it's that. It's like
well, maybe
do you know what I mean? Maybe. So it's like a thing where it's difficult to move on because that guy will still be living with that injury and stuff like that. Anyway, so they're on the run, but they've raised these two sons while they're on the run. River Phoenix
are raising.
Yeah, are raising. River Phoenix plays one of the sons, and then there's a younger brother as well, a wee guy who's just fantastic in it. They're fantastic.
He's not doing any acting, that wee guy. He's just a wee guy.
No, he's just being a wee guy. He's the most realistic wee guy you've ever seen in it. And the wee guy, by the way, let's get this out the road right away, is in his underpants for the majority of the film. True, isn't it? Which is brilliant because wee guys are in their underpants. Sorry, Jerry, are wee guys in their underpants all the time? Jerry has. No, you can draw for your own life. You've got sons. They're in their underpants a lot, and they're cutting about.
More than they should be. Yeah. Especially after COVID.
Yeah.
I'm in my underpants right now.
So, what's your thoughts, Ryan, about this film? I have very personal thoughts about it.
I've got quite a lot of notes. I don't know whether to be more general. Actually, I've not got that many notes.
Because this is one of the films as well where there's not a great deal of stuff happens in it.
No.
You know what I mean. What they do is at the start of the movie, they have to up sticks and move to a completely new town again.
Which
and
is
start
something
again.
that you get you don't get the impression River Phoenix will come out right out and say that this is something that they've done like many times. Like they'll only spend relatively short periods of time before they have to move,
change names,
change identity, and move to new towns.
Get new jobs. There's a beautiful bit where they're in the hotel room and they're having to dye the kids' hair and all of that, and the wee guy's like, I hate this, and they're getting their hair dyed and stuff. And River Phoenix is this really loving son who's kind of supportive through this. And he's a really talented boy playing piano as well, and he has this practice piano. I've never seen a thing like this before, have you? It's like a big wooden practice piano. It isn't an actual piano. It's like must have like the keys drawn on it or painted on it, and he practices on that. It's fucking tragic, right? But yeah, so at the start of the film, the up sticks to move to a new place, and he settles into a new school. They get new jobs, and everything kind of starts afresh. And that's the story.
The reason why, I mean, it's happened many times before, but the reason why you're seeing it's this time that you're seeing it is because several different things happen to River Phoenix. In this particular town, he starts a relationship with a lassie who is far and away my favourite performance in the film.
Oh, she's brilliant. She's brilliant in everything she's in. Martha Plimpton, she's brilliant. The music as well. There's a music teacher who
has success.
Talent.
I don't know why that wouldn't have happened to River Phoenix sooner, but he's put forward to go to university.
To go to Juilliard, no, just but to go to Juilliard. So it's like the big music school. It's like the dream. So he's that talented.
It's given the family dynamic challenges that they haven't come up against before, which is why we're seeing this particular town.
Yeah, there's something I noticed about this film right away. So I sat and watched it with Hope. So Hope wanted to watch it again when I was watching it. And when I was watching it, I noticed that it maybe took me like 10, 15 minutes to realise this, but that everybody was shot in wide shots. Did you notice this? It was wide. There was not one close-up.
Right.
And I was like, there's no close-ups in this film. There's no close-ups. Every time you see that family, it's in two shots or it's in big wides. Or they're all there like that. Yeah. And I was going to myself, this must be deliberate. This must be because they're always at a distance for people. They're always. I said, it's going to be that because I've never seen. It's completely. The blocking is beautiful as well. It's like so you've got these wide shots.
I have a criticism that I'm sitting on that I don't think we're going to agree on, but it's just when you said blocking.
Yeah.
Because there's something I was talking about it as I was watching the film as well because it started to stick out to me. But there's something that changes about the pacing of delivery when Judd Hirsch is in a scene, I felt. I don't know if you've maybe not picked
What do you mean?
He has a certain type of delivery, a certain kind of rhythmic. Mm-hmm. It seems like a kind of TV, almost sitcom delivery that dictates the pace of the scenes that he's in, particularly with his family, I felt. And I I didn't enjoy it as much.
I think it's
A lot of the performances, River Phoenix's, the wee boys, Martha's performances, they seem so kind of free. Do you know what I mean? They
His
seem
is a theatrical performance.
His is,
Yeah.
it's I don't know. There's something contained about it, or there's something.
Well, his is. I just kind of
Something strict about it
I
that
feel
doesn't
like-
feel natural.
I feel like there's everything's deliberate. Everything's deliberate in this film, and it's like that thing with the wide shots, right? And you know, I was going to say about the blocking at one point. Was a point where River Phoenix kind of stones up, tease Manda a wee bit, and the wee guy's in the kitchen. You can see him in the back, and he kind of comes and starts to pay attention when River Phoenix stones up to them. And it's just a beautifully. It's like just a fucking great director at work, and that's why I was thinking because Judd Hirsch's performance is odd in this. You know what I mean? And then I was thinking to myself, like, I wonder, because he's the only character
to the
who
point
doesn't.
where I was starting to question like the chemistry between him and his wife and stuff like that. I was like, I don't know, I don't see her with him.
Yeah, but there is also
But,
there's
you
a
can
weird
say
dynamic
that,
between
know.
them anyway. And he's the only character who never opens up. Like he doesn't open up right up until the end of the film. He's still like, this is what I'm doing, and I'm this fake person, and I'm, But anyway. It's shooting a wide until.
Talking about being a good director, I had written the first note that I had made was that bike shot.
It's
River Phoenix
fucking
on his
beautiful.
bike,
The film's beautiful.
All there is just the sound of the leaves and the wind, and he's cycling for a good 2 or 3 minutes.
Hope had recommended it after seeing it close range because she was like, it's another film. It's like a kind of small town thing that will stay on a shot. It won't rush out which you just don't get in films nowadays. You don't get that kind of leisurely pace that kind of builds a world. But yeah, all wides. And I was thinking to myself, is this a deliberate thing? This thing, all these wides. And then when he, I know he spoil it because you know it's coming, but when River Phoenix opens up to his girlfriend about who he actually is, what his real name actually is, it goes to a close-up. No, it doesn't just go to a close-up. The camera moves in on him as he's revealing that to her, and it's like, and suddenly River Phoenix is in close-ups for the rest of the film because he's on. And I just think to myself, it's so fucking ballsy and brave. In a world where we make films now and everybody's just like, get this angle, get the reverse, get the covering shot. They don't think in terms of, you know what? We're not going to do fucking close-ups and cutaways, not. We're going to do wides until this point in the story. Then we can go tight. The fucking confidence of that is...
Sorry guys, just need to fact check you there. Sorry, just on behalf of Guft, I just asked if you still get that kind of leisurely pace in films. It just lets scenes breathe, if that still happens. And yes, it does. Some modern films still allow for leisurely pace and let scenes breathe, focusing on atmosphere, character interaction, or subtle storytelling. So it does still happen.
Again,
Just
any
a kind of fact
example?
check, Jerry.
Any example?
Yes, there are examples.
That's quite good because you do get caught up with kind of hyperbole with these things a wee bit. See when you're da...
We've skipped a lot to him revealing to her.
Yeah.
Loads of stuff. I don't know. I have overall positive feelings about the film, but I have sticking points as well.
When you're da, before we get to your sticking points, when you're da, shouts you out your bed at night, right? Boys, get down here! And he shows you guns, and he says, this is not what we're about, and then sends you back to your bed. I think you probably go back to your bed going, I think that might be what we're about. Do you know what I mean? I think if it's not what you're about, your dad doesn't ever
doesn't
show
happen.
you.
It
Doesn't
doesn't
shout you
happen.
down and show you guns.
Aye.
I think that's a worrying thing. No, there's a lot we're not covering here because it's a film you need to kind of...
See the first time that River Phoenix goes into the classroom,
Yeah.
and I think they listen to the teacher is kind of like he's quite
It's
eccentric.
like a music, yeah.
So he plays some. Actually, somebody later in the film says it was Madonna that he likes. I think it was Martha that said that it was Madonna that he
Yeah.
plays, but I don't think they use Madonna, so maybe they couldn't afford.
No, did they
some-
not play? It was Madonna at first.
Was
no,
it?
it was.
Was it?
Yeah, it was Lucky
Anyway,
Star
he
by
plays
Madonna.
pop music and then he plays Beethoven. He was asking what the difference is, and River Phoenix was able to say that you can't dance to Beethoven. But then the teacher asked River why, and River wasn't. He didn't have the answer to hand. He maybe did have an inkling, but he didn't have the answer to hand. But there's something about the way that River Phoenix displays the body language of not knowing that I thought, oh, he's really
a really
good
great actor.
for the age that he is. He's really good.
And the key thing was that
There's a subtlety in that.
But this is what I love the script so much as well, though, because the key thing wasn't that he understood you couldn't dance to Beethoven. The key thing was that he knew it was Beethoven. Do you know what I mean? Whereas other kids knew it was Madonna. You know what I mean? There's a sequence in this film where there's a birthday party. And they're all there, and Martha Plimpton's there, and the girlfriends came to the house for the first time, and you think,
why is she so good? Like, what is it about her
Martha Plimpton?
presence and delivery and interaction that's so good?
I think it's a naturalistic. I think she has this kind of naturalistic performance that elevates everybody around her as well. This is the thing, because she's in Parenthood as well, right? And she really stands
Remember
out.
Beautiful Girls? She's in that.
Yeah, she's just one of the really solid, really kind of, as wanky as it sounds, she's a really given performer. So it's like, she'll make a scene better instead of just sticking out herself like, oh, she's a great actress. You know what I mean? She'll make a scene better. But that sequence where a James Taylor song Fire and Rain plays, and they're all kind of dancing about the living room, and it's so kind of warm, and you can see this is how this unit, this family have kind of lived their life. You can kind of get why they've stuck together on the run with each other for all this time, and then she kind of just smoothly integrates into that. You know what I mean? You can see Judd Hirsch being like, oh fuck, I like this lassie, and they're dancing about. It's a fucking beautiful scene. It made me very emotional watching it. I started, I would say, about 35 minutes into this film, started to feel like I was going to burst out greeting for the rest of the film. Pretty much I get put into a very kind of emotional state. Should we talk about the dinner scene with the Ma and Hurda? Because that's a real standout scene, I think.
Has the last 5 seconds or so of that guy's performance at the end of that scene's amazing.
Because she's like basically seeing her dad for the first time in years. Holding up.
And he's got this steely front that
he's been embarrassed by her. He's been heartbroken by her. He's
and he still loves her.
Still loves her. And she's said terrible things about him in the past and all of that. And it's a completely beautiful scene. Like, maybe the scene of the film, to be honest. Do you know what I mean? And the director just lets the two actors just carry it for a good 10-15 minutes, play through the scene. Now, the end of the film, I don't really want to spoil the end of the film.
I've written in capital letters, there's a boy taking cooking, 36 minutes. They were astonished that River Phoenix was in the home economics class.
Yeah, that was weird, wasn't it?
Astonished. 1989, they were astonished.
They were giggling and laughing that he was wanting to do
a boy in the cooking class.
You are certifiable. What is this, some sort of smart-ass joke? You're taking cooking.
I want to learn how to cook.
Yeah, right.
So I was in a bit of a mess at the end of this film, right?
Oh, I've also written down at 43 minutes right next to that. Do you remember when River Phoenix first meets Martha Plimpton and they get on really well? It's the scene with the inflated guitar and the hat, and he sneaks out of the house. He goes out, but he keeps the hat. But there's a brief scene right after that, no dialogue, just him sitting wide shot by the lake, looking at the hat.
Yeah, brilliant.
And throws the hat into the lake. They don't need to say anything, just...
No, and there's so many scenes like that in this film of just like wee moments that carry a huge amount of weight. And, and Hope was telling me that Martha Plimpton recently on her Instagram was showing that she still has that hat for the film, that she's kept it all these years. It's fucking sad. That boy is dead. The end of the film is...
Is it partly sad because... I'd never really considered it before. I've not seen that many films that he's in, but is it partly also sad because you can see how good he is there and it makes you think what the actor that he could have become?
Absolutely. He was so talented and so...
He could have lived on, and there's so many other ways that he could have died.
I know, that's true. So So the end of the film, I don't really want to. It's hard to go. I feel like it isn't really a spoiler. It is in a sense to talk about what happens
Such an abrupt ending.
at the end of the film. It is quite an abrupt ending. But ultimately, what happens at the end of this movie is, and skip this if you don't want to know what happens at the end of the movie, is that the family kind of come to their senses a wee bit, and they go, "We can't be doing this to our kids anymore." And they don't turn themselves in or anything though. Judd Hirsch isn't going to fucking turn himself in, despite the fact his wife is saying we should do this for the boys and let them live behind me.
I think she says at one point that she'll do it when they've grown.
Yeah, they leave him behind and move on. They essentially dump him like they dumped the Doug at the start of the thing. They don't really dump him because they're doing it because they love him. They're just like, you need to go out by yourself. And it was then
It is a conversation like through a car window though, and there's no like.
Yeah.
I noted that there was no hugs for either parent.
There was no hugs. There was just a kind of steely, well, this is how it's got to be. But Ryan, that was why I was a mess at the end of the film, because I was sitting watching it with Hope, and Hope is...
Did the wee brother even speak
No.
to him?
No, because the wee guy...
he know?
The wee guy doesn't have the conception of what exactly
gonna
what's
see him
happening.
again?
Yeah, you know what I mean? So I'm sitting watching it with Hope, and she's 17 now, right? She's be 18 in January, and the film, and this is why I think the film is so great, because it is such a weird setup for a film, and the story is quite it's not like a story everybody can relate to, that, you know what I mean? But what everybody can relate to is what the film is actually about, which is about how you have a family unit, and you're all, you know, you all have your own way of doing things, and you feel like it's yous against the world a wee bit in your family unit, and then your Wayne hits 17 or 18 and they leave. They need to go. They can't work within that system anymore. They need to live their own life, and they need to go. And you need to just do that thing where it's like, oh no, it's fine. We'll see you well, right, bye-bye. And kind of, you know what I mean? When in truth, what you want to do is what Judd Hirsch is shouting in the film, where he's like, you know, we're a team, we're a unit, we stay together, we need to stay together all the time. This is how it works. And it was that. I was like, then I was going, fucking, this is what the film's about. The film is just about what every family goes through, what every 17-year-old, 18-year-old goes through, whether like this world and way of living that we had has to end now. I found it extremely upsetting. I really did. I found it extremely upsetting, particularly because I was sitting watching it with Hope. I was like, try fucking hold it together, because like, you don't want your Waynes to leave, you know?
I don't have any wins.
But you know.
So I don't have any wins, so I didn't like the music that much, and I thought the casting was a wee bit off.
But I
thought the casting was a wee bit off, but I also found charm in that as well, because I was like, you fucking don't get films like this anymore. You wouldn't get a music teacher that looks like that anymore. And
No.
It was realistic, I thought.
A wee fact about the film, now that I've gathered myself, a wee fact about the film is that it was written by Naomi Forner, who is Jake Gyllenhaal and Maggie Gyllenhaal's mum. She was nominated for an Oscar for it. Naomi Forner, her name is Naomi Forner Gyllenhaal. So there we go. Right, so we better quickly get through this. I've got another game. I want to cover. It's just such a full year. Can I talk about? It's another PC Engine game, guys, and it's a really important one because it's the very, very first Fire Pro game.
Holy shit.
Stand up, get on your feet, and show respect to this game that I consider one of the most important releases of the 1980s, one of the most important video game releases ever, because this is Fire Pro Wrestling Combination Tag, which is the first of the famous Fire Pro Wrestling series, the best series of wrestling games in video game history. Crank this one up and the experience is all there, including the fact that when you first start playing a Fire Pro game, you kinda feel like you don't know what's happening, it all doesn't seem to work, you don't know what you're doing, you don't know how to do moves, it's a mess, it's a shambles. How can I can't even do a move, I don't even know how to. Everybody panics, and then you settle into it, you realise just how sophisticated the Fire Pro Wrestling mechanics are, and you start to bust out 5-star classics. And the spectacular thing is, this game, 1989, has got it all happening right out the gate. I mean, it really has. Look, burst open, got a bit of colour, beasting into each other, measuring out drop kicks, doing submissions. Now remember, this is a wrestling game for 1989. This is a wrestling game that precedes some of the Super Nintendo wrestling games, for example, you might have played that were fucking terrible. And compared to the wrestling games that came before this, the leap forward is truly incredible. Fire Pro Wrestling is all about your weak strikes, strong strikes, but mainly about the grapple timing, about timing that grapple. There's a specific time within the character's animation where you have to activate your grapple, and that's really what this whole game hinges on. That's the reason why a lot of people bounce off Fire Pro games, because they go, I don't understand this, I don't understand when or how I'm supposed to pull off a move. But see, once it clicks, it unlocks a world of possibilities, and suddenly you're able to pull off amazing closing sequences like this in a video game on a home console in 1989. This is just a game that's made with a pure love for the sport, for the art of professional wrestling. It's not just like a normal video game where you're trying to beat your opponent or trying to beat the other player. Right here, right out the gate, right for this first Fire Pro game, you're wanting to have a good match. You don't want to finish it too early. You want to finish it with a big finisher, with a big move that's going to please the crowd. I mean, watch this. Here we go, up the top. This is how I'm going to finish it. Covered in blood. Down we come. Go for a pin. Fucking beautiful, man. 1989, right out the gate. And it's all here. Everything that we love about Fire Pro. As it gets more advanced, more technical, it's all here in this first game. And what a violent game it is as well. I kind of feel like Fire Pro Wrestling Combination Tag is one of the more violent games you would play in 1989. Your guys covered in blood, absolutely hammering each other, big strong style moves, sticking a fork into the guy's head. I think so many people bounced off of this game back in the day that they didn't realise what was in here, what was under the hood. And what was under the hood was the best wrestling game of all time. And it would go on to retain its crown for fucking 3 decades. And it all starts here. 1989, kicking the balls for everybody else.
I think I'm partly shit at the games because you never let me get good at them. That's what I think. I think I'll pick that
shut
excuse.
up.
I get bullied too much, so I never got good at the games.
Shut up.
The same way Jerry never got good at badminton because I bullied him.
Oh, taking it well. Taking it well, Jerry. Right,
Right.
Fact checking that.
Please don't.
Yeah, it's true.
Pick again, Robert. Pick between Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, fucking Pipe Mania, or Turrican.
Oh, well, it's got to be Turrican, right?
Turrican?
Yeah, it's got to be Turrican. Turrican, Jerry.
Turrican.
Turrican, guys!
Turrican!
Get no regrets as an Amiga owner. It would be easy to have regrets because there's a lot of shitters on the Amiga, but I've got no regrets. That being said, going back and playing anything on the Amiga, you're kind of braced for impact. I'm talking about myself here. I'm kind of braced for impact. I'm braced for, oh my god, this is unplayably shite. I'm braced for, oh the hours, oh my god, all the hours I put into that. Braced for all of that. But I'm safe with Turrican. We're safe with Turrican. I love that Turrican swagger. Is that his name? I should know this after all these years, but I love Turrican's swagger that he's got. His shoulder swagger. It's a fun game to just tank your way through until you realise that the difficulty is really unfair and the levels aren't actually designed as well as you would hope. Definitely no by the day standards are really pretty very frustrating. They're all the more frustrating when you are so eager to cheat as I was that I've got the auto fire on that I forgot to use my big laser. There's a big laser beam weapon that you can use if you just hold down the fire button, but I'm using auto fire, so I've forgotten that that's a thing. I think it's quite hard to say. Yeah, it's hard to rule out the relief factor. This is actually the relief of it actually being quite playable. Oh, I think we're going to see some platform action. That's what Turrican's most famous for. I think has been. They're not too bad, these bits actually, but it's quite famous for being helplessly stuck on loads and loads of platforms because you need to jump out and up, and it's really difficult with a particular kind of control system that Turrican has. I'm trying not to say that it's shite, but it's actually a bit shite. But I have completely overlooked it because I still have the muscle memory, and I'm playing with a zip stick still, and I've still got the muscle memory. God, I feel old. If you hit the space bar, you turn into a wee ball in the game. I mean, like your Metroids. I'm not saying they stole that, probably just a coincidence. It's much easier to defeat this fist when you use the big laser beam attack, but as I say, I've forgotten that I've got a big laser beam attack. I still get it. I'm still a hero. I'm still that damn good at this. This is very early on in the game. Very early on. Also, to my horror, I realised when I beat that fist that it's not a boss or anything, it's just a thing that's in the level. I'm standing there waiting for like credits to roll and fireworks to go off and stuff, and then I realise I'm still in control. Oh shit, the level's still going.
Beautiful, I'm a fan of it.
Would you say that Terry Kane?
Terry
Who's
Kane?
Terry Kane? Is that an England player? Would you say that Turrican is a game you're a fan of?
Well, I know that Ryan at Turrican's a game you're a big fan of.
Got me back. He got me back.
Funhouse.
It's wacky, it's fun, it's crazy, it's outrageous. Funhouse, a whole lot of fun. Prizes to be
Fun. Right, I'm not going to sing it, and there's a special reason why I'm not going to sing it. But Funhouse was a children's game show that was on ITV.
Yeah.
In 1989.
It was the last. It was usually, by my memory, which I'm pretty sure is accurate, it was the last like kids TV show that you would see on a Friday afternoon on ITV. So it would start at like 25 to 5. Would be the last game, the last kids show that they showed.
Pat Sharp was the presenter. He's a radio DJ. Where the fuck is he going?
This is my bit.
Just sit there, don't know. Pat Sharp is a DJ. Melody and Martina Grant were the name of the two twins. There was two kind of twin cheerleaders there
They
for the dads.
genuinely, to my eyes, look about 13 years old.
I just said for the dads as well. They don't look 13 years old, by the way.
See, did you hear when they spoke as well? What they sound like wee lasses.
Right, okay.
But Pat Sharp as well looked a bit 40.
Pat Sharp's a good part
Is
of
he
it.
blocking any...
Pat Sharp is a DJ, so he hits out with part of like, he'll say about the red team, the Hot Rockin' Reds, and all that. Well, that fucking English DJ battle.
No, fine. I'm ready.
A wee boy says at one point, he's so to explain what it is, by the way, before I get all excited about it, to explain what it is, Funhouse is a game show where they play slimy games, and then the winning team, oh my God, look at this, Jerry's caused absolute chaos. The winning team gets to go through the Funhouse to win prizes at the end.
I'm not showing in the wide because he's too big.
The Funhouse is like, you need to lean back, Jerry.
No, but I need this shot though. Yeah,
I'll lean forward.
this is how I'm gonna.
And I'm sorry, I'm trying to continue the show while you guys are causing chaos. Guff, they're never going to give us a third party now.
52 seconds into Funhouse, Series 1, Episode 11, which is what we watched.
Yes.
I've written down that camera 12, because at one point Pat Sharp is talking to one of the cameras and it references it as camera 12. And I was like, is there fucking 12 cameras on this studio show?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I'm not really sure. I can tell you a wee bit of interesting info at the end, right? A wee guy says he's into IT. A wee guy in one of the teams says he's into IT, and Pat Sharp's like, what's IT? He's got no fucking clue what IT is.
No.
He likes IT. Now, what is IT?
Information technology. It's a bit confusing.
Yes, of course. Things have changed, you know. I used to have maths and English when I was at school.
Pat Sharp's not got a fucking clue. Have you seen his hair? That guy's not seen a fucking hairbrush. Never mind a...
You couldn't work on computers with that hair.
Computer. Remember, the winning team gets to go through the Funhouse at the end, which is just like a mad lit soft play area.
Kind of platformed, so there's different levels to the Funhouse.
It's cool. Pat Sharp also says things like give us a ding on your donger at one point, which means ringing a bell. Give us a ding on your donger.
I've written down that Pat's told about 10 jokes. That's about 5 minutes in. Pat's already told about 10 jokes and not one of them's got a laugh.
No one of them's landed. The show's music's really depressing. Like, see the music it plays between the games, it really put me in a fucking existential downer. It did. It made me think about sitting in my living room eating fucking Bean Feast or something.
What is Bean Feast?
Or cheesy pasta.
What is Bean Feast?
Bean Feast was like a packet of like kind of soya, like kidney bean, soya bean stuff you would add boiling water to.
Oh, fuck me.
A wee guy goes at one
That wouldn't
point.
be a fun house after you've eaten that.
We'll give this decent close up. A wee guy gets asked about Brussels. What's Brussels a capital at one point, and he goes, "Brussels is the capital of."
He was a total bottle merchant, that wee guy.
I'm doing a performance here.
Right, sorry.
Brussels is the capital of Belgium, and I felt like I wanted to knock fuck at him. I did that. The game doesn't. The show
Did
doesn't
you
stop.
notice
To
the
be
wee lassie
fair.
on the yellow team starting to join in with the celebrations, but then thinking better of it?
Yeah.
Boy, oh boy, have we got a show for you today. We got a show for them today? We got a show for you. It's okay. It's all ready to go.
It's loosey-goosey, this show. It doesn't stop, though. There's no breathing space. A game finishes, they
only
get the
about
points, they
25
take another game. It's super quick. There's games where you throw frogs into big giant myths.
They have to scrape snow off a fence. That looks like one of the worst things for the environment that I've ever seen in a kid's TV
Look
show.
like asbestos, scraping asbestos
out of the
off
roof, that's what it looked like.
the game where they throw frogs into the giant mouths, Pat Sharp says at the end, you got one in the throat, which isn't too bad.
Aye.
You got one in the throat, which isn't too bad. Yellows, well done to you.
Which is that was,
it was a
bit of
myth.
funny one, right?
It was a myth. It wasn't a throat.
No,
That's
he
what
was definitely.
It was
doing
aye,
something there.
aye,
He was
trying-
doing a wee joke for the adults there, or just a
Got
bit of
one in
DJ
the
part.
throat.
A bit of DJ part. He also says at one point when they have a go-kart race at one point, and Pat Sharp says when the two twins drive in, he says, "Oh, doing women drivers a world of good here." So it's all that part. You didn't notice this when you were a wee guy.
No.
That it was all that part. No. So anyway, when you lose, the losing team got one of the really depressing rulers. Remember the big
with a
rulers?
calculator on it.
High-tech ruler with a calculator and everything.
They got a watch as well, and what I found interesting was that they literally went for the losers getting a watch and a calculator ruler to announcing the prizes that were available in Funhouse, and the first prize that they said was the watch that they just gave to the losers for nothing.
Aye.
So there's a chance that the winners are not going to get a watch.
I'm going to list off the prizes in this Funhouse.
Have you written them all down?
When you go through the Funhouse, you can grab them. No, all of them. I've written some of them. Clock radio.
Shite.
A chess set.
Shite.
A microscope.
Shite.
Levi designer jeans. A cassette token.
Shite.
A fucking token for a cassette. And then the big grand prize was a load of fucking tent shite, camping crap.
Outdoor tent crap that Waynes have got fuck all interest in.
Waynes don't want to go fucking camping with their fucking cassette token. They're going to buy fucking, what are they going to buy?
Leather
with their
briefcase
cassette?
as well. Do you get
Oh,
the
a fucking leather briefcase, aye.
For a Waynes in school.
A Wayne
Leather
going camping
briefcase.
with their fucking leather briefcase with their microscope in it, listening to their fucking cassette that they got with their token. When they're what would they need a cassette for? How are they going to play a cassette in their fucking clock radio?
One thing we missed out of the prizes there, the mystery tour.
Oh, as a mystery tour.
Which remains a mystery for the whole show because they never tell you what it is. It's just
A mystery tour. Listen, if there's anything I've fucking learned living through the 80s, never go on a mystery tour organised by a fucking radio DJ.
Biplanes Duel, more widely known just as Biplanes, that's what I've always known it as anyway, Biplanes, was released most widely, I think, as a cover disc on Amiga format. I know from the internet, for the geeks on the internet, that it's Amiga format cover disc number 18 for January 1991, but the game was out before then. But certainly I didn't discover it until I played that cover disc, and it still sticks out in my memory. This and Extreme Violence on the Amiga stick out as incredible freebies, given the amount of time that I spent playing them. I don't know if I need to really explain what's gone on screen here. This is a two-player game and I only have one zipstick, obviously. One zipstick, no pals, so the footage I've captured is just me flying about by myself, which begs the question how he's managed to get 3 points, because it's no anybody, so I'm playing nobody and I'm only just winning. So it's at its best as a two-player, just like Extreme Violence, it's at its best as a two-player game, but I can't demonstrate that because I don't have any pals or another zipstick. There are videos online that you can look up, Biplanes Duel, when there's two people playing it. You can tell how much fun it is, but I can't deliver that to you, I'm afraid. All I've got is memories. Memories long past their sell-by date. Withered, dusty, uncared for years memories. The beautiful thing about this game is its simplicity. I know you're not getting the best because you're only seeing one person play a two-player game, but the beautiful thing about it is its simplicity. Every great Amiga game I can think of has a beautiful simplicity to it, which is a nice thing to contemplate, the simplicity of the game, and it also means that there's less likelihood of it crashing, because there are so many games for the past that just don't work.
I just wanted to show you another wee 1989 PC Engine belter. This is Final Lap Twin from Namco. Now, first of all, right, let's just look at the racing game, right? Final Lap Twin. Let's just look at the racing game. Final Lap Twin is one of the games where I think if it wasn't on the PC Engine, you know, if it was on one of the more widely used consoles like a Super Nintendo or a Mega Drive or something, I think it would be much better known and much more revered than it is, because this is a truly great Wii racing game, great arcade racing game. As you can see, you've got a split screen here. You've got a split screen by default, always a split screen. Pretty weird, right? Now, when you play it in two-player, that's great, you know, you and your pal have a good time on the split screen. When you're playing it single player, it feels a bit odd at first, but you can see your rival down below, and it just, I don't know, it just works for me. But the racing itself is fantastic, man. It's up there. It's up there with all the great arcade racing games of the time. But the reason why I'm showing you Final Lap Twin isn't just to do with the racing game, isn't just to do with the racing element of this. I want to show you the quest mode. Now, I don't know what you're visualising when you're visualising a quest mode in an arcade racing game. An arcade split screen racing game. Hello, Rab. That's me, Rab Florence. Listen to me carefully. I've taught you everything. Now it's time to prove yourself. Rab, first you must face the local champions. Let's start with local champ, Big Mick. Don't forget, Rab, you have to drive with spirit. If you have any problems, come back. I will always be ready to give you advice. Take my car and drive it well. Go, Rab. You must become the world champion. Use the code above to restart. Okay, I'm not fucking writing that down. Here's $500, son. He says must be my dad. And look. This is quest mode. It looks like a Japanese RPG, right? Visiting people's wee houses. Big Mick is a hard-working racer, says this guy. He's now driving on the racetrack south of here. What's going on? Did you expect it to look like this? I bet you didn't. Big Mick is the local champ, says that ugly bastard. An improved car body helps avoid challenge races. Don't know what that means yet, but I imagine it's probably good advice. And by the way, did you think it was just a wee town? No, there's like a world map and all that, just like in Final Fantasy and all that stuff. A racing game. Arcade racing game. With a world map and a... Oh, kid, I'm Tank Jones. This is my turf, punk. Do you want to race? And then you're racing against guys you meet on the Japanese RPG world map. Absolutely fucking magic. That's your Final Lap Twin. I've got twins, by the way, 2 twin daughters. That's been a quest mode all of its own. Knackered.
Jerry, bring us home with a Funhouse theme in the style of William
Death's the way we sing.
In the style of William Shatner. Go for it.
If there's room.
William Shatner. Starkirk.
Funhouse. A whole lot of fun.
Lucille Ball.
Prizes to be won.
She was a good gin.
It's a real wacky show where anything can go.
Harry Heel.
Funhouse, it's a
Harry
quiz, it's
Emperor
a
Harry
race, a real
Harry
crazy place.
Sugar Ray Robinson.
Use your body and your brain.
Betty Davis.
If you want to play the game.
I feel I'm having a stroke watching this. I feel I'm having a stroke.
Lee Van Cleef. So Lawrence
Funhouse!
Is that done?
Sergio Leone. I'm not even halfway through. Save it for next time.
Save it for next time. Thanks for watching. Listen, remember to like and subscribe, share it to your friends. Tell everybody the CVXX is happening, and if they're not watching it, if they're British and they're of a certain age and they're not watching this show, I don't know what to fucking say to you. Good night.